Well, where I was at, which is a small town in Montana too, there weren't a lot of opportunities for women except for in the areas of waitressing, of secretarial office work, and such like that. And I actually had my first real job as a dental assistant there in Glendive, which was typically a women's type of a job.
I guess I started out as a waitress, and that's, I think, where a lot of people my age started as waitresses or in service-oriented jobs.
I thought I wanted to be a nurse, but that meant going on to college, and I did not have the finances to do it, and so I started working in offices and secretarial type things and stuff, and then
I went to a country school, and from 3rd grade on, the teacher would have me help the little kids. So I knew that I was going to be a teacher. I loved helping teaching, and so from 3rd grade on, I knew.
when I started out, my husband and I owned a business, and everyone considered him, my husband, to be the owner, and that I was subservient, shall I say. If the salesman called on the telephone and asked for the owner, and I said yes, I was, he would hang up on me.
I think too that there's more women in the trades than used to be, and I think educationally too that I think more women can go into the technical fields, and you're seeing more of them in those jobs.
When I was in high school, the first person in my high school, the first girl to take shop classes was like the year behind me. Otherwise, all the shop classes were guys, all the home ec, now they call it something different, were girls, and they didn't interchange. Now the guys go to the home ec classes, the girls take different types of shop classes. Those things kind of only started changing once I was out of high school.
When I was in school, it was encouraged that everybody go to college. I did. I was I was one of the abnormal ones, I guess. But I think the social norms have changed, and also women going out and getting a job and being able to support themselves. That, I think, is more expected now.
Well, I grew up in a rural area, and of my high school class, I'm one of the few that went on to college. My dad had minimal education, and he was not of his own problem, but he wanted his children to go to college. So I knew that was expected of me. But many of my friends are still living at home, and they're just ranch wives and that kind of thing, but I did what he wanted, and I would have anyway.
We moved here, my husband moved here for the railroad, and at that time, it was the first time in my life I didn't have to work for money, and I decided I would go to college. So I started here at the community college, found out that I really liked accounting, and pursued that career from there. From there, I got a scholarship to go to any place in Montana. I picked the closest university, which was Billings, and got my accounting degree with a degree in information systems.
One thing, I mean, this was kind of trivial, but when I started teaching, we had to wear dresses, heels, the whole bit. And as time went on, things were more informal, but not for us. And so as a faculty, all the women decided one day that that would be the day that we would all wear pants to school, which upset a lot of people. But we did that and kind of broke through that barrier of 20 below, and here we were in short skirts. And so we did that, and that would be one of the major trivial things that changed.
You see the ads on TV now where promoting the young girls and stuff to going into the science, you know, and other professions that women were never allowed to be in.
Well, I grew up on a farm too, and girls and women, I think, did just as much work as the men did.
Yes, yes.
More.
Because we worked in the house and we worked outside.
Right. I did that. I worked
I
in the
know.
fields
Same
and
here.
came in and then had to help get the meal ready.
That's right.
Do dishes.
That's right.
And then go back to the field.
That's right.
I did.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was fair either, but I got to take the shower first.
Oh. You had a shower.
Yeah, I did have a shower.
What would be typical here in this area would not be typical someplace else. I was born and raised on a farm and knew what hard work was, and being able to do some things for, like going to dances on weekends. That was our biggest entertainment. And we did not have the money to go drive into town to go to the shows or things like that.
I mean, of course, I grew up in a very rural agricultural area, so it was a little bit further behind than places that were bigger cities, but we were all in the same, we were ready to expand and not be quite so tied down. I was a child of the 60s.
Like I said, I really don't notice any of the differences so much. Except, of course, for the age of computers. That has given, I think, everybody an edge.
When I went to college, and I was kind of interested in computers, there was at NDSU, there was this huge room with this huge computer and all of these different typing stations that punched holes in cards. And we did it we did Fortran. My problem ended up being that I was not a good typist. So any mistake you made when you're punching holes in cards, you have to start all over. So needless to say, I took one class and that was enough for me.
With all the technology and things, well, like websites, and I would have, if I were a young one now, I would probably, I'm very interested in that. I would go into like graphic design and
Yeah, we were more of the kind of learning the internet, learning about computers, learning about the age of now. We travel more. I think I traveled more than the previous generation did, I think. It was easier just to jump in your car and go wherever you wanted.
Just a lot of those kinds of things are available now that I think weren't back when I was just coming in, graduating and going into college.